There are certain money milestones that change how life feels. Money does not solve every problem, and a number in a spreadsheet does not magically make you happy. But as your net worth grows, your options change, your stress changes, the way you react to problems changes. A surprise bill feels different when you have $800 to your name than it does when you have $10,000 saved. A job problem feels different when you have $100,000 working for you. And a major life decision feels different when your net worth is high enough that you are no longer living one bad month away from panic. So, in this video, we're going through 3 net worth levels where life starts feeling different. Your first $10,000, your first $100,000, and your first $1,000. And near the end, I want to talk about a hidden level that does not sound impressive at all, but for a lot of people, it may be the most important milestone in the whole video. These are not the only milestones that matter, and they do not mean the same thing for everyone. If you live in a very expensive city, have kids, support family, or carry a lot of debt, the same number may feel different. But these 3 levels are useful because each one changes the game in a specific way. Quick definition before we start. Net worth is what you own minus what you owe. Savings, investments, retirement accounts, and home equity go on one side. Credit cards, student loans, car loans, mortgages, and other debts go on the other side. If someone has $20,000 saved and invested but owes $15,000 on credit cards and car debt, their net worth is $5,000. That distinction matters because income alone does not tell the full story. You can make a good salary and still have a fragile financial life if too much of that income is already committed to payments. Let's start with the first level, $10,000. Your first $10,000 is not financial freedom, but it can be the first time money starts feeling less chaotic. For a lot of people, this is the level where small emergencies stop turning into full-blown crises. A car repair, a medical bill, a broken laptop, a sudden move, or a few weeks between jobs can still hurt, but it does not automatically become credit card debt. That is a huge psychological shift. When you have almost no cushion, every problem feels bigger than it is because the problem is not just the bill. The problem is the chain reaction after the bill. You pay for the repair, then rent is tight. Rent is tight, so the credit card balance grows. The credit card balance grows, so next month is already harder before it even begins. Your first $10,000 interrupts that chain reaction. It gives you a buffer between normal life and financial panic. This is why the first $10,000 should not be treated like money that needs to impress anyone. It does not need to be in a risky investment. It does not need to be used to prove you are smart. For most people, the job of the first $10,000 is stability. That might mean part of it sits in a high-yield savings account as an emergency fund. It might mean part of it helps you get 1 month ahead on bills. It might mean you finally stop using the credit card as your backup plan. The mistake people make at this level is trying to skip the boring part. They want to go straight from no cushion to investing aggressively, buying individual stocks, starting a complicated side hustle, or copying whatever strategy they saw online. And those things can have a place later. But if you have no financial floor, one emergency can force you to undo everything. The best use of your first $10,000 is to create breathing room. Breathing room means you can make better decisions because you are not constantly reacting from panic. You can compare prices. You can wait for a better option. You can fix the car without turning it into a 6-month debt problem. This is also the level where your identity can start changing. You stop seeing yourself as someone who always starts over. You start seeing yourself as someone who can hold on to money. That may sound small, but it matters. A lot of personal finance is not just math. It is trust. Do you trust yourself to keep money? Do you trust yourself not to spend every raise? Do you trust yourself to build a cushion and leave it alone? Your first $10,000 proves that you can. So if you are aiming for this level, the main focus is simple. Build the cushion before chasing higher returns. Pay minimums on low-interest debt if you need to. Attack high-interest credit card debt aggressively. And keep a starter emergency fund so one surprise expense does not push you backward. Once you have that floor, you are playing a different game. The first $100,000 is where the math starts to feel different. This is one of the most famous wealth milestones because it is usually the hardest 6-figure number to reach. Going from $0 to $100,000 can take years of saving, investing, paying down debt, and resisting lifestyle upgrades. But once you get there, 2 things change. First, your habits are probably different. Most people do not accidentally reach $100,000 in net worth. They usually get there because they have some combination of consistent saving, investing, debt control, and income growth. By the time you hit $100,000, you have probably built a system that works. Second, your money itself starts contributing more noticeably. If you have $5,000 invested and the market goes up 8%, that is $400. That is nice, but it may not feel life-changing. If you have $100,000 invested and it grows 8%, that is $8,000. Of course, markets do not move smoothly every year, and they can also go down, but the point is that your assets are now large enough that growth becomes visible. This is where compounding starts to feel less theoretical. At smaller numbers, it can feel like you are doing all the work. You save $200 and your account goes up by $200. You save $500 and your account goes up by $500. But around the first $100,000, investment growth can start becoming a real character in the story. It is still not magic. You still need income. You still need discipline. You still need time. But the machine is finally big enough that it can help. This is also the level where lifestyle creep becomes more dangerous. When someone reaches $100,000, they may start feeling like they have earned the right to upgrade everything. A nicer car, a better apartment, more travel, better restaurants, more convenience, more subscriptions, more "I deserve this" spending. Some of that may be fine. Money is supposed to improve your life. But if every milestone turns into a bigger monthly obligation, your net worth can stall right when it should be accelerating. The tip at this level is to protect the system that got you here. If automatic investing helped you reach $100,000, do not turn it off just because the account finally looks meaningful. If avoiding credit card debt helped you build momentum, do not start carrying balances because you feel more successful now. If raises helped you invest more, keep sending part of every raise toward your future. Your first $100,000 is not the finish line. It is the point where the engine starts working better. And that is why this level feels different. You are no longer just trying to survive the next emergency. You are starting to see how a financial system can build on itself. Your first $1,000 is the level most people think of when they hear the word millionaire. But the strange thing is that becoming a millionaire may not feel the way people imagine. It may not mean private jets, luxury cars, or never thinking about money again. For many households, especially in expensive areas, $1 million net worth can include home equity, retirement accounts, and long-term investments that are not meant to be spent freely today. So, the real power of $1,000 is not that every problem disappears. The real power is optionality. Optionality means you have more choices. You may not be able to quit working forever tomorrow, but you may be able to leave a toxic job without panic. You may be able to take a lower-paying role that gives you more time. You may be able to help family without destroying your own finances. You may be able to handle market downturns, emergencies, or life transitions with more patience. At this level, the question starts shifting from "how do I get money?" to "how do I use this money well?" And that is a very different question. Earlier in the journey, the main job is usually accumulation. Save more, invest more, pay down bad debt, increase income, avoid lifestyle traps. Those things still matter. But once your net worth reaches a higher level, management becomes just as important. You have to think about taxes, risk, diversification, insurance, estate planning, withdrawal strategies, and how much of your money is liquid versus tied up in a house or retirement account. This is also where people can make a different kind of mistake. At lower levels, the danger is often not saving enough. At higher levels, the danger can be making your life more complicated just because you can afford to. $1 million net worth can still feel stressful if it comes with a huge mortgage, expensive cars, high fixed costs, and no time. You can be wealthy on paper and still feel trapped if every dollar has a job before you get to choose what you actually want. So the tip at this level is to convert net worth into freedom, not just status. That means asking better questions. What do you want your money to do for you? Do you want more time, more security, more travel, more generosity, more flexibility with work, a calmer retirement, a simpler life? Without those answers, it is easy to keep chasing the next number forever. There is always another milestone: 2 million, 5 million, 10 million, more income, a bigger house, a nicer car, a better version of enough that keeps moving away from you. That does not mean ambition is bad. It means money needs a job beyond making the scoreboard bigger. At $1,000 or $1,000, the opportunity is to start designing your life more intentionally. Before we wrap up, there is one more level that deserves respect: getting back to zero. If your net worth is negative because of debt, zero might not sound exciting, but it is a real milestone. Going from negative $30,000 to zero can change your life more than going from $300,000 to $330,000. When you are negative, part of your future income already belongs to the past. Every paycheck has to clean up old decisions, old emergencies, old interest, or old obligations. Getting back to zero means you are no longer digging out. You are standing on the starting line with both feet under you. That matters because it means your future income can finally start building forward instead of constantly cleaning up the past. So if you are not close to $10,000, $100,000, or $1,000 yet, do not hear this video as a reason to feel behind. The next meaningful level might simply be less negative. Then zero, then your first $1,000, then your first $10,000. The path still counts. The first $10,000 changes your relationship with emergencies. The first $100,000 changes your relationship with compounding. The first $1,000 changes your relationship with options. And getting back to zero changes your relationship with the past. That is why these numbers matter. Not because they make you better than anyone else, and not because they guarantee happiness. They matter because each level gives you a different kind of control. At $10,000, you get breathing room. At $100,000, you get momentum. At $1,000, you get optionality. And wherever you are right now, the next level is built the same way. Keep more of what you earn, avoid debt that fights against you, invest consistently, and try not to let every raise become a new bill. The goal is not just to make the number bigger. The goal is to make life feel less fragile. That is when money really starts to feel different.